Welcome to SSF, and I'm going to get right into the video. And what we're going to talk about today is the greatest team that hasn't produced. Well, the greatest NBA team that hasn't produced. People act like when LeBron James built, when he joined the Miami Heat in 2010, and at that time, LeBron was top one or top two player in the game, behind Kobe, maybe Tim, and you had Dwayne Wade, who was definitely a top three player, and you had Chris Bosh. All those guys joined Miami, and all three of those guys combined were top 15 players in the league. And everybody's just like, man, this is a super team, and we all just figured that they were going to win championship after championship after championship. I thought they would get the Bulls record. I thought they kind of underachieved, though, because they went to the championship 4 years in a row, but only won 2. So it's still a great accomplishment to win a championship, but I thought they kind of underachieved. But they act like that was the first team that started the super team. When you think back, super teams have always existed, and those be the teams that usually win, or dynasty-like teams. I'm going to go back to the 80s, where you had the Los Angeles Lakers with Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard ever. Kareem, the greatest player to me ever. You had James Worthy, Byron Scott. That was a super team. And they won, 5 championships in the 80s. You had the Boston Celtics, who had Larry Bird, one of the greatest players, top 5 to me ever. You had Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson. They won quite a few championships. You go to the Bulls, 96 Bulls, who had Michael Jordan, one of the greatest to ever do it. Dennis Rodman, great rebounder, one of the best defenders the game has seen. Scottie Pippen, one of the best all-around players in the game, and the legendary coach in Phil Jackson. They were a super team. You had the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, and then you had, and now you had the Golden State Warriors, who had Kevin Durant, Curry, Klay Thompson. So super teams have always been in existence, but they act like with LeBron and then Kevin that they just started. But the greatest super team that hasn't produced, what I want to talk about today, is the Los Angeles Clippers. Yes, baby. The Los Angeles Clippers. In 2019, the Toronto Raptors had just come off winning the championship. Kawhi Leonard had won his second Finals MVP. He had a hell of a playoff run, averaging 30 points in the playoffs, like 9 rebounds, 4 assists. He had an outstanding Finals performance. He looked like, if not the best, definitely the second best. I thought at that time Kevin Durant was the best, but he was hurt, and you didn't know how he was going to come back. So I had to get a crown, if you're asking me, to Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi Leonard out of his contract, even though Toronto offered him everything. He said he wanted to go back to LA and play. I'm thinking, like a lot of the other NBA media, and I don't know, I'm a small media guy compared to them, or at least right now, I'm planning to get big. A lot of other people just thinking like, man, Kawhi's gonna go over with the Lakers, LeBron trying to recruit him, Magic recruit him. I said, man, these boys gonna be even better. I'm sick of the Lakers. I hate the Lakers. But in July of 2019, Kawhi Leonard shocked everybody and signed with the Los Angeles Clippers. But he didn't come by himself. He brought Paul George in a trade that involved multiple picks going to Oklahoma. And now you had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on one team. I'm thinking like, man, you got these two guys. How can anybody score on them on the perimeter? Because you got 2 of the best defenders on the perimeter, and you got probably the best player in the game on the Los Angeles Clippers. Also, you still have Doc Rivers, who was considered one of the best coaches ever on the team. And I'm like, the Clippers finna kill, baby. Not meaning in a bad way, but just, they was going to be hard to stop. Also, you had Montrezl Harrell, who was good around the basket. You had Lou Williams, one of the best 6-men ever coming off the bench. Pat Beverly, a defensive hound. Zubac, really good around the basket. Solid rebounder. Man, they had a really good team. And they start off the season playing really well. Of course, Kawhi Leonard had to load manage and they was looking really well. And then unfortunately, COVID hit, which shut down the world. Sad event. And then the season resumed in the summer, middle of the summer, when the season usually ends, and they played in a remote location in Orlando, Florida. So I'm thinking the Lakers was coming out looking really well, but I'm like, ain't nobody gonna beat the Clippers. But the Clippers came down and they was playing pretty good in the playoffs, and then they got to Denver, and I'm like, at that time I ain't know nothing about Jokic. Murray was alright. I'm like, they finna go sweep these guys, beat them down, and it went as planned. It went up 3-1. I'm like, it's a wrap. And then the Denver Nuggets came back and beat them 4-3 in Game 7, when it seemed like nobody on the Clippers made a shot at Game 7. Everybody was off, and Paul George had a terrible series, terrible playoffs. He didn't play well. They was destroying him, and they ended up losing. And Doc Rivers ended up losing his job as a result of these guys not playing well. But it didn't help when you got a couple teams that came back up on you when you was up 3-1 as with a team that you coached. So they had to let go of Doc Rivers and come back 2021 season. They start off playing pretty good, playing pretty well. They go into the playoffs. I'm like, man, maybe they got it together. Paul George playing better, Kawhi Leonard playing better, Kawhi Leonard playing like Kawhi Leonard, and they come off giving Dallas the business. And Kawhi goes to the basket, tweak his knee wrong way, didn't see him no more in the playoffs. But the Clippers advanced to the conference finals with Paul George playing well, Reggie Jackson playing well, the whole team playing well, but missing Kawhi was too much. So Kawhi missed the whole 2021-2022 season. And Paul George missed a lot of games as well. And then they came in and played in the play-in and ended up losing to Minnesota after trading Patrick Beverley. And he acted like he won a championship, jumping all over the table. I forgot to mention that after they fired Doc Rivers, they hired Tyronn Lue, who's the coach to Cleveland Cavaliers. And Tyronn Lue was a good coach, and he was doing a really wonderful job with the Clippers. So after Kawhi Leonard missed the whole 2021-2022 season, he come back 2022-2023 season, missed a couple games, couple months, and he come back. We were like, okay, they got Kawhi coming back. He should be ready. Paul George looking like he coming back. He should be ready. During the middle of the season, they end up getting some more guys that coming off the bench. Norman Powell, Eric Gordon. Man, to me, they had a squad. I'm like, these guys are going to be hard to beat. I forgot to mention they end up also getting Russell Westbrook, who, when he played with the Lakers, he didn't fit their system, so everybody just thought Russell was done. I'm like, these guys got a squad. They got everything they need. Also, they got Robert Covington. So they got the length on the wing. They got the defensive players. They got the scoring. Got a great coach who's going to beat them again. Then the playoffs start. Forgot to mention that Kevin Durant went to the Suns. And the Suns looking like a juggernaut. But the worry is, have Kevin Durant played enough time with the Suns? The Clippers waiting on Paul George, saying he might not make it the first round, may not. Nobody picking the Clippers anyway because they don't have Paul George. And then the Clippers come out and giving them everything they can, winning the first game, almost winning the second game. Kawhi Leonard looking like probably the best in the game. Boy, balling out on both ends. And again, you don't see him tweak his knee. We don't see him get hurt. But before the game, I think it was game 3, game 4, Kawhi Leonard would not be playing, dealing with some apparent knee injury. I'm like, when did the dude get hurt? Nobody seen him get hurt. You know what, Paul, and then nobody knowing when Paul George gonna come back. So yeah, Kawhi, they say he might be back this game, might be back that game. It's always, we don't know with him. And of course, with Kawhi, he ain't coming back until he just 150%. And of course, the Clippers end up giving them Phoenix all the run they can. And Phoenix end up beating the Clippers 4-2, or was it 4-1? I'm not Sure, but I will put it up on the screen. And now, a Clippers team who you thinking with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, all these guys, we thinking this team is going to be a juggernaut. We thinking this team is going to turn into a dynasty. We thinking this team is going to pass by the Lakers, not as the greatest dynasty, but in this time going to surpass the Lakers as the best team in LA, right? They still right now is the best team in LA, but Kawhi's always hurt. Paul George is always hurt. Kawhi always low management. Paul George always low management. And you got Tyronn Lue trying to fix all this stuff together. And it's turned into a dog and pony show. And this team with all this talent can't seem to get it all together on the court. And because they cannot get all this talent on the court at the same time, you can't see them flourish into what everybody thought in 2019 they will be a dynasty, a great team to win maybe 2-3 championships in a row, especially with Kawhi, the Terminator, the robot, the superstar that he was. But how can, no matter how great you are, you need to be on the court. And Paul George and Kawhi is never on the court. And now you can have a 30 for 30, or you could say, this is the greatest team, one of the best teams I've ever seen on paper that hasn't produced. My question is, going into the 2023-2024 season, they say Kawhi Leonard is healthy. Paul George is healthy. Man, they got talent for days. And we know that we see that talent on the court when you see them against Phoenix. If they can get everybody back with Russell, he's back. And James Harden trying to come, even though I'm going to want James Harden because he seemed to choke or don't play well in the playoffs. I don't know what happened to the guy. Maybe go to strip clubs too much, but I wouldn't want him. I just stick with that team now. Man, the sky's the limit, and championships seem to be in their vision. If everybody's healthy, that's the question. But they're never healthy. Will they win it? Because right now, the Clippers are the greatest NBA team that hasn't produced. It's your boy Shad. This is SSF, Shad Sports and Faith. If you like this video, give your boy a like, hit the comment section, and I'll be sure to engage you in the comment section. As I always like to end a video, if you have been paying attention to me, I always like to end a video on a positive vibe by saying peace and love.